Thank you a lot. My name is Djamal FAROUKH. I am agricultural engineer. It's true that the theme on the photo of agricultural production called agropole, this is a complex theme and more and larger than my knowledge would allow me to develop. But I tried in this challenge, because I had the advice of the minister here present in the room, who asked me to do it because I was the general director of agriculture for the 2 last years, but now with new restructurations, I'm now in charge of a project of the Ministry of Agriculture under the funding of European Union. As I am no longer in the restricted circle around the minister, however, the minister asked me to give a presentation on this. First of all, I'd like this is what you need to know on the agropoles in Chad, because the notion of agropole is very wide, and from one country to another there are different approaches. The plan of implementation will be strategic orientations and lines of intervention in line with employment of young people, and expected result with the employment of young people in domains of intervention, potentialities of agriculture in Chad, and commitments in Chad in the agricultural sector. The orientations. Among the challenges of the country and in the mind of improving and conserving the land, the population ever growing with a big proportion of young people, we need innovative initiatives in terms of employment. I was talking about agropoles. Agropoles in certain places had to work on family agriculture, but here we are afraid of that, because Chad is not a country, is self-sufficient country in terms of agriculture. If agropoles are used, it will be some business on the back of our producers, and this is a risk. That's why we want to think of a system of agropole adapted and favorable to family agriculture. That's why we chosen for a policy having objectives such as the improvement of production and increase of agricultural production, emergence of competitive means in the promotion of rural world. We resume where we stopped. I was saying that lines of intervention in Chad, agropole is research for development, agricultural advice and promotion, and availability of agricultural materials and access to markets. Intervention lines are the improvement of crops and diversification of products that will improve significantly the revenue of people, the income of people. The objective is to increase the production and promote values and make financial sources for the investors, and look at the local markets, and preserve environment and develop employment. The expected results in line with the employment of young people in the strategy of agropoles in Chad are the development of the management of agropoles, transformation of agricultural product, development on chains of value, and management of knowledge of agropods. There also structure of assistance for the entrepreneurial for small and medium businesses. At the end of the program, we are expecting to create 100 heads of agricultural exploitation that will be trained very soon. 500 initiatives with 50% of female personnel is expected. The results expected with employment of young people, that commercialization over a long chain of value, including the gathering, because in these agropoles, we think that the examples we give to illustrate the chain of value in the agropoles is just like a manner of oil discovered for being exploited, produced. We see that there are activities around all this crude material. This is what produces employment. As for the oil in Chad, the crude oil became an El Dorado because 1,001 employment created there. When the agropoles are started, employment with the agropoles, it will continue and the agricultural cycle will maintain that. There is a set of employment, diversity of employment around the agropole. That's why we want to implement this strategy. Commerce in the weekly markets with wholesalers. The intervention domain specifically chosen is to update the programs, cereals and oil crops, and create an environment that will be friendly with investment, set up as a platform of exchange of good practices and experience in the development of the diversity of field. The potentialities of agriculture in Chad. Chad has little businesses to contribute efficiently to create decent employment. The creation is going positively but very slowly because of the environment, difficulty in the environment. Chad has a lot of potentialities and opportunities, economic opportunities, producing agro-pastoral linked to the development of agro-industry, service industry, the abundance and manpower through young people, on which I don't want to come because it has been said the potential human is young or green with valid hands everywhere, and free movement of people and wealth in the same area zone. In terms of potentiality, I would like to show this in this table. Links to agroecological zones. Chad is divided into 3 zones: Sudanian zone, Sahelian zone, and Saharian zone. In agribusiness, people think that in the Chadian Sahara, in the desert, we do not produce, but in reality, there are big potentialities of agropoles because there is water. Because people see the desert as the extension of sand, but the Chadian desert has a lot of water underground. Where there is life, there is water there is life. For Chadian people who are still mature in the 1980s, in the mid 80s, where Chad was occupied by the Libyan, there were hundreds of hectares produced that was shown in newspapers in the desert, but people producing rice in the desert, hundreds of hectares, and everybody knows about that. Those people who were already mature at that time, people who were younger than me, and remember what happened in the desert in growing rice. The Sudanian zone is agricultural, with more than 1,000 millimeters of water, with diversity of plants like cotton and all everything else. The Sahelian zone produces more today because cotton has taken part of the Sudanian zone, but in the Sahelian zone there are cereals that are more developed, and this potential is there. We have not exploited the maximum of the potentialities. I was saying that I showed the Chadian agricultural potential. Chad has 39 million hectares of agricultural land, representing only 30% of the populated land. In terms of potential, we have in agricultural sector, 2/3 of the population are employed in the agricultural sector. Underground resources and surface resources in water are about 457 billion cubic meters. Ecological diversity offers a potentiality of the diversification of culture. We have desert, we can grow wheat, grapes, dates, where in the south, until the south, where we grow cotton. Diversity of, we have a very big potentiality for agriculture. In terms of animals, we have 94 million animals. 94 million livestock, without excluding poultry. We have 91 million of poultry as well. But all of these are underexploited. It's more prestigious breeding. Commitment of Chad in agriculture. I'd like to show this slide to improve good governance in the qualities of institutions, to ensure human resources adapted to the national economy, and improve development through competitivity in production, conservation, transformation of products, and accelerate integration of agriculture in the market, and center all priority choices on family agriculture. The declaration of heads of state and states in Mozambique 2003 recommending 10% of the budget of African countries for agriculture, and the other one, declaration of FAROUKH 2013 for the irrigation of the Sahel region, in the Sahel region. In other terms, these are international engagements, commitments, but we also have commitments to improve the productivity and line of values, develop new use, and constitute sources of investments and provide for the markets, local markets. I would like to give you an overview of the chain of values. We have 4 definitions for the word chain of values for the assistant to appreciate. Value chains is the whole people working from production in the field to its final consumption. This can be a vertical line or diverse links of independent actors to it can be around transformation, packaging, and distribution. The chain of value, traditional value in general rule, is guided by the markets with small retailers and modern chains with conditioning and consolidation of the line of provision from one end to the other of the chain of value. Agripoles in the chain of values are not only the chains of agricultural production but a chain of diversification, of transformation of the products, of commercialization, distribution, and consumption, and industrial. It is economic. It is simply economic. I'm going to show you 2 witnesses. One by the product, the program of agricultural domains, community agricultural programs of Senegal. These actors say that solutions of the city are to be searched in background, in the backcountry, and it is the permanent key to help solve 2 challenges. The first, and to prevent climate change, and the second one, to ensure social development and a decent job for everyone. I'd like to make an observation that was made even this morning. In the search of employment creation, someone provided a figure according to which apart from the climate change, productivity, and agricultural products are following the climate change. This will be reduced by 50%. Now, we say that we're doing what we can to encourage young people to leave the cities and go to the background. If you're telling them that if you go to the backcountry, by the end of 2 years they will have their problems double, they won't want to go in the backcountry. As Grand Royal said, where we push our children, situation is even worse because it's going towards the aggravation. What if you ask people to come to the land, agricultural environment, it will become worse. Is this person really helping us or creating a problem for us? Thank you. Thank you, Djamal. Thank you a lot. I have a question to ask you. The first one is, where can we find the agropoles physically? Nowhere. Here in Chad, because we have potentialities, but all I have here is a project. It's a project that we have worked on with consultants, and we are at the stage of a project waiting for funding. As I said in the introduction, we want to reflect to avoid errors made by others, because agropoles in the macroeconomic or multinational setting, it is more dangerous for food security, for the objectives of and sovereignty of food security. We will invest in family agriculture. My second question is about, I think that when you buy belts, they write on this made leather, 100% leather. But when we cannot write. I want to buy a belt in Jamena, but if you do, if you breed for prestige, I think I won't be able to have a leather, made of leather belt in Jamena. Imagine 94 million of animals, and Chadian people are less than 10 million. I think we have a lot of leather to produce, but what we produce is for local consumption, but for our friends we have a lot to provide them. But we, the people of the coastline, we are afraid of cows, and we cannot breed cows. So don't breed for prestige, but provide us with meat and milk. I think there are 10 slaughterhouses that are being built, and 2 are being built already, and 10 others are in project. Thank you very much. We'll do that.